WFLA Now will begin momentarily. WFLA Now will begin momentarily. Live. WFLA Studios. Top stories, breaking news, interactive coverage in the palm of your hand. This is Stream Center Live. Here's JB Biunno.
An update in the Madeline Soto disappearance. The Orange County Sheriff's Office announcing a press conference to begin at the top of the hour on the investigation to the 13-year-old girl last seen Monday morning after being dropped off for school. The signal from Orange County from the Sheriff's Office there just came in. We're about to take you there live in the Stream Center. Hello there, folks. JB here with you live across now all platforms. We are moments away from a sheriff's update in the Madeline Soto disappearance. This is the 13-year-old girl last seen on Monday morning. She was dropped off for school. A person of interest, also known as as it's been described, a prime suspect, has been arrested, and that being, of course, the mother's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. So let's go live to our sister station, NBC sister station, WESH, providing this signal from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. They still have this as a missing persons case. As you see there, this is the signage that they have put up near the podium. So you see missing Madeline Soto, her picture there on the left. There you have the suspect's vehicle. We'll get, I'm sure, more details on that in the upcoming presser. And there's on the right, suspect Stephen Stearns. I'll try to read this if I can. 13-year-old Madeline Soto, last seen wearing a green sweatshirt, black shorts, white Crocs, has been missing since Monday, February 26, 2024. She was reported missing after her mother went to and just like that, it moves away. So we're about to hear from Orange County Sheriff John Mina, again on the update for missing 13-year-old Madeline Soto. We have full details on this story on WFLA.com.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
And can confirm that our signal is stable and our audio is coming in crystal clear. This, again, is a story that is emerging out of Orange County, really Orlando, Florida, after Madeline was dropped off for school, really near a school in Orlando on Monday morning. She was dropped off at a church that was right near the school, according to interviews that have been done with Jennifer Soto, that being Madeline's mom. She was dropped off at the church, and then that there was video that I haven't seen, but video apparently that exists of her, Madeline, I'm referencing here, Madeline, being in the parking lot and lingering there before making her way towards the school, but vanishing because she never made it to school. She was last seen near Hunters Park Lane and Town Loop Boulevard in Orlando around 8:30 a.m. on Monday. This led to the arrest of the person who dropped her off for school, that being Stephen Stearns, arrested on Wednesday evening. He's facing charges of sexual battery and possession of child sexual abuse material. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, they said that they had found, quote unquote, disturbing images on his phone, and then discovered that he had tried to wipe portions of his phone, or at least all of his phone. He tried to, according to the Sheriff's Office, delete evidence. According to an affidavit from Kissimmee Police, and this is coming from the reporting by Wesh, here is the sheriff. Let's listen in.
So thank you for being here. We have some important developments in this case that we want to share with our community. I wish we were here to tell you that we have found Madeline, but we have not found her. Last night, detectives from the Kissimmee Police Department met with Madeline's mother, and they had to tell her the very devastating news that although we have not found Madeline, we are now confident that she is dead. So our efforts will be focused on recovering Madeline. Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working nonstop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stephen Stearns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephen Stearns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephen Stearns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time. As a result of that, although the initial missing persons investigation started in Orange County, the Kissimmee Police Department will now be taking over the investigation and will become the lead agency. And of course, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, all of our support personnel will be available and will still be assisting in this investigation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Holland from the Kissimmee Police Department. Chief?
Thank you for being here. As Sheriff Mina said, this is still an active and ongoing investigation, and there is a lot of additional information that we cannot release at this time. I do want to note that Stephen Stearns was transported from the Orange County Jail to the Osceola County Jail, where he is being held on capital sexual battery charges filed by the Kissimmee Police detectives. Right now, our top priority is recovering Madeline. We are still appealing to our community for its help in this case. Please share this crime line bulletin on my right of Stephen Stearns. He was last seen driving a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. The Florida tag is IYLL82. On Monday, February 26th, between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road. During this time frame, it is believed that Stearns had a flat tire and might have been seen changing the tire in this area. If anyone saw this vehicle or noticed anything suspicious, we're asking that they call Crime Line. We will continue to work tirelessly with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, and St. Cloud Police Departments to bring a resolution to this case and recover Maddie. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. We'll take some questions, but just remember, we're still in the middle of this investigation. There's a lot of things that we cannot reveal.
At this time, are there anything yet? Has Stearns spoken to anybody yet?
No, Stearns has not spoken to anyone.
Is there any possible specifics that you can give us as to what leads you to believe that she is definitively deceased?
The video evidence that we have.
Is it about just the position of her body, the way?
So we're not going to go into those exact details, but we have video evidence that leads us to believe that she's already dead.
Sheriff, there's been a lot of things that you just laid out here just now. This location in the afternoon, is there a belief, are we trying to figure out, I know you're requesting video surveillance of that area, are you trying to figure out whether she was still with this car at that time?
Yeah, so it could be helpful to us if people saw something, and obviously we're searching many different areas, but if someone saw something in that area, we want to know about it.
Is that an area you've already searched?
What's that?
Where this car supposedly had a flat, is that an area you've already searched?
So we actually have people searching areas right now. So they've searched a bunch of different areas, and they're going to continue to search. So I don't want to go into specifics on exactly where. I don't want to miss something.
Did she leave the house?
One more time. I'm
Did
sorry.
she leave the house? Was she at that time? Did you believe that she was? Did she leave the house on her own?
So what I'll say is what I already said is that we believe he moved her body in those early morning hours, and all that is still under investigation.
The mother is cooperating with the investigation?
Yes, we're talking to the mother. Yes.
She's not considered a suspect.
So we're talking to the mother and all this. There's, to my knowledge, she's not a suspect in this case right now.
You had mentioned that he dropped some items in the dumpster. Did you recover those?
That's correct. So from the dumpster, we recovered her backpack and her school-issued laptop.
Sheriff, do we believe that I know that you're piecing things together with different portions of video. Is it the department's belief that she was killed at the house?
It's our belief that she was killed in Kissimmee and that he moved her body. And so that's why the Kissimmee Police Department is the lead investigators now.
As for messages that you had said that Madeline might have sent about living in the woods when she turned 13, are you questioning whether those were actually sent by her rather than someone else?
Yeah, that's all part of the investigation, so we haven't determined that yet.
Have you been in touch with Madeline's family? How are they taking this at this point?
Yeah, so obviously detectives have spoken to her mother, and as you can imagine, the reaction that any parent would have.
So this is transitioned from a disappearance investigation to a murder investigation headed up by the Kissimmee Police Department.
That is correct. It is transitioned to a homicide investigation, and the Kissimmee Police Department will be the lead agency in that investigation.
At this point, any new charges?
We're still investigating it.
I have a question for you, Chief, regarding new charges, because we noticed there's an additional charge for sex battery on a victim under the age of 12. Are you continuing to go through his phone and find more evidence?
The detectives are continuing the investigation, and as more evidence comes up, there may be more charges in the future.
Is it believed that Madeline was a victim in that as part of that investigation?
That's still all part of the investigation, and I don't want to say right now.
What about the church footage that somebody mentioned that she was seen wearing she was seen at the church?
So yes, we reviewed that footage. It was very grainy. We weren't able to determine that was her, but like I said, we know that she was never dropped off at school that morning.
Are you assigning extra personnel to this case over the weekend? Are searches continuing?
That's correct. Searches are continuing as we speak. And so, like I said, we have people who are working nonstop. And so every lead that comes in, every piece of evidence that we receive, we're going to follow up on that. And if that leads us to a new search area, we'll be out all weekend.
Everybody good?
I think we're good.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Sheriff.
The press conference here confirming the worst fears in this case, that the sheriff's office is confident that 13-year-old Madeline Soto is dead, never having made it to school, and that the video that we had talked about before the press conference, the video that we had heard about in various reports that showed her being dropped off at a church near that school, that video was grainy and couldn't definitively pinpoint that it was her being dropped off for school. Absolutely heartbreaking point in this story as you get a look there at Stephen Stearns. That is the mother's boyfriend who has been arrested but yet to be formally charged in Madeline Soto's death. of course, now the investigation turns to locating Madeline Soto's remains. And I was jotting down a lot of notes. I think that the car is extremely important. I'm going to ask chat to help me out here with the car, because I was writing. It's a Lincoln MKZ, silver in color. I didn't get the year, but also of note, the flat tire is interesting, because if anybody spotted a Lincoln MKZ with a flat tire and somebody changing a flat tire, any information that now comes into the sheriff's office or to Kissimmee Police can help them track exactly where that Lincoln MKZ was, because it could take them to Madeline Soto's remains. But absolutely devastating to hear about video evidence existing that shows Madeline and really her remains around 7 o'clock in the morning, this past Monday morning, confirming to the sheriff's office that she never made it to school because she wasn't alive at the time that she was supposedly dropped off, that being 8:30 in the morning in Orlando. So absolutely devastating news. I'll go now to the chat. And again, I was jotting it down. Yeah, 2010 silver Lincoln MKZ. And they had it on the billboard ahead of the press conference, Wesh giving us a shot of that. And so if you're just joining us, the press conference just occurring, and a lot to break down here, but you can clearly get the sense that Stephen Stearns is without question the suspect. They confirmed, and I'm glad that the reporters in the room asked this question, that the mother is not considered to be a suspect at this time. The mother has done interviews expressing hope that Madeline would be found, as you would expect a mother being extremely frightened given what has transpired this week with her daughter never making it to school. Madeline never had her phone on her. She left it that morning, as it was reported, but now we understand that she never even left her home to make it to school, never even had the opportunity to grab her phone and bring it to school, because according to the sheriff's office, they have video evidence that points to her being dead as of Monday morning. Was she murdered on Monday morning? Was she murdered over the weekend? Did something occur that led to her death that Monday morning or at some point over the weekend? And how was it concealed from Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mother? All of these questions that now emerge, but something terrible and absolutely tragic happened to this 13-year-old girl, and you're looking at the face of the person that that authorities in Central Florida believe is responsible for this. He is the prime suspect in this case, and they are now trying to find her remains to proceed with the next phase of this investigation. Questions, comments. Of course, you can use hashtag HJB in the comment section. I can bring up that's basically your consent for us to bring your comment on screen and spotlight it live. Or you can go to www.heyjb.live to submit a comment there, and then it's automatically inserted into the queue for us to spotlight your comment. And I'll start to look for those comments now. Connie says, I may have missed something, but why are they confident? Do they know more than they are telling? Let's start with the second part of that question. Do they know more than they are telling? Of course. You would imagine that a lot of the details in regards to this are disturbing. They have video evidence where they were able to see Madeline, according to Sheriff John Mina, that came at a time when she's believed to have been dead. So they had eyes on her body at some point through this video evidence, according to the press conference. So that, of course, brings in subject matter that is undoubtedly extremely difficult for the family. They're coming to terms, of course, with now the news that Madeline has been killed or is dead, and that news, of course, extremely tragic. So not releasing those details, of course, out of respect for the family. As far as the first question here, Connie, I may have missed some things. Why are they confident? It's because of that video evidence, and again, the backpack being disposed of in the dumpster, the laptop in the dumpster. We're used to covering a lot of cases involving sinister acts and terrible crimes against adults, against children, and you hear about attempts to try to cover cover your tracks if you're the suspect, right? Doing things that you can to erase any signs that you were responsible for the crime at hand. And in this case, we've already known that Stephen Stearns attempted to delete evidence off of his phone, according to deputies. And now we have the additional allegation that he tried to dispose of Madeline's backpack and laptop in a dumpster. With that said, it goes without saying, but it would appear that if the investigators have this right, and if the allegations are true, Stephen Stearns went to great length to dispose of Madeline Soto's body, but didn't go to as great of length to dispose of her backpack and laptop because it was recovered in a dumpster. So that, of course, is telling, but motive eludes us. Why kill a 13-year-old girl? Why kill your girlfriend's daughter? Really, really terrible. Hashtag HJB from Marie on Facebook Live. Where's her biological father? I have not seen that in any reports. Any status on the biological father. All that we know is that the mother, Jennifer Soto, of course, the custodial parent, the guardian for Madeline, and that we haven't heard much about the father, just that Stephen Stearns here was involved enough in her life to have been trusted to drop her off at school. Again, other comments, I can only spotlight comments if it has the hashtag or if it comes into heyjb.live in your web browser. That's it. Yeah, Jessica wants to know how long has the mom been with him. It's more off topic, but understand that. Yeah, of course. With any case that we cover, family dynamics are really important. This is the same question that came up in Audrey Cunningham. And we were talking about the parallels between Audrey Cunningham about trusting somebody that isn't a parent to do something as important as making sure your kid gets to school safely. That case occurring out of Texas, this one in Florida, separated by mere days, but the parallels there are so obvious. Audrey Cunningham never made it to school, and here we have Madeline Soto, never made it to school. I do not know the answer to this question, Jessica. There might have been some interviews that I missed with Jennifer Soto. I haven't seen that detail yet as to how long they've been in a relationship. Mia, to my knowledge, this hasn't been specified. The sexual battery charge or what was found, the evidence. A lot of this is being kept very close to the investigation. So I believe Stearns was in court today. Stearns was in court. And that's usually an opportunity for more to come out. Let's go over the timeline here again. Video evidence shows that Stearns was discarding items in the dumpster at the family's Kissimmee apartment complex around 7:35 a.m. Investigators then found Soto's backpack in that same dumpster, or it's believed the same dumpster. Stearns was later seen returning to the complex at 8:19 with Soto in the car, and video evidence, according to the sheriff, points to that she was no longer alive when she was spotted in that vehicle. Let's see some other comments coming in. You know, I want to get the Lincoln information out there, but I was jotting down so fast that I missed that note. I want to get the timeline sorted out with the Lincoln because I think that that's really important information to share out. But I don't have that timeline again. We could always go back in the press conference. Sammy Joe, hashtag AJB, did anyone ask if the charges were being upgraded to murder? I think that was brought up during the press conference. However, they're not going to escalate yet. And to explain a little bit as to why they don't have Madeline's body just yet. So while they are confident that Madeline is dead, the charges, Stephen Stearns is in their prime suspect. Stephen Stearns is in custody, so they will have the opportunity to upgrade those charges when appropriate. But right now, the charges could come at any time. Really, the focus right now for the Kissimmee Police Department, because it is now their investigation. The priority is locating Madeline's remains, and then you have her remains. You can definitively, without a shred of a doubt, say that she is deceased, and then of course move forward with charges based on. Then the investigation will get into forensics and trying to piece together a timeline as to when she was killed. We don't know cause of death. We don't have her remains. We don't have cause of death. We don't know exactly what happened. And while I understand, look, it might be. I have to state this and remind our audience of how this works. There's no evidence yet that suggests that she was definitively murdered. And now I know that it's easy to make that assumption. We see the villain in this story, as it's been, of course, demonstrated here through the perp walk and through the mugshot and this arrest of Stephen Stearns. And we have the innocent victim, a 13-year-old girl who was just trying to make it to school, right? But you can't say that somebody was murdered unless you have evidence that a murder has taken place. And so what could have happened? Again, there's other scenarios at play where something tragic happened to Madeline Soto, perhaps with Stephen Stearns present. And while it might not be definitively a murder, there's a scenario at play, of course, where, again, I don't have all the evidence. We know so little about this case, but I'm just explaining that if she had died by a means other than murder while with Stephen Stearns, and then he attempts to conceal it, it's just a different investigation. It's not necessarily a homicide investigation. I understand that most of the signs here point to this being a homicide investigation, and most of this points to Madeline being murdered, but you can't connect those dots until it's definitive from an investigative standpoint. You can say that the sheriff's office suspects, you can say that the sheriff's office believes, but until that they have Madeline Soto's remains, a cause of death, a potential murder weapon, a potential location of that murder, there's just still a lot that investigators have to sort through, but it begins with finding her remains. Jackie, hashtag AJB, do you think the mom was involved? No, they said that the mom wasn't involved. Or they don't believe that the mother is a suspect at this time. Well, so this is interesting from Sandra. Did any neighbors have any door cams? We don't know the origin of this video evidence, but video evidence is crucial in any case. And the sheriff's office says that they have video evidence of Madeline no longer being alive as of around 8:19 Monday morning. Soto in the car, but believed to have already been dead. I think it's an opportunity for us, if I can. What I would like to do is bring up the press conference, because I want to get that. I still don't see that information again, and I want to get it out there. Orange County Sheriff's Office, YouTube. I'm looking at this screen here in the Stream Center. So let's bring up this audio.
Madeline's backpack.
On. Stray audio coming in. Stand by. All right, is that better now? Still have stray audio coming in. I don't know where that's coming from. Stand by.
Still an active and ongoing investigation, and there is a lot of additional information that we cannot release at this time. I do want to note that Stefan
Found Madeline. We are now confident that she is dead. So our efforts will be focused on recovering Madeline. Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working nonstop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephen Stearns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephen Stearns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephen Stearns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time. As a result of that, although the initial missing persons investigation started in Orange County, the Kissimmee Police Department will now be taking over the investigation and will become the lead agency. And of course, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, all of our support personnel will be available and will still be assisting in this investigation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Holland from the Kissimmee Police Department. Chief?
Thank you for being here. As Sheriff Mina said, this is still an active and ongoing investigation, and there is a lot of additional information that we cannot release at this time. I do want to note that Stefan Stearns was transported from the Orange County Jail to the Osceola County Jail, where he is being held on capital sexual battery charges filed by the Kissimmee Police Detectives. Right now, our top priority is recovering Madeline. We are still appealing to our community for its help in this case. Please share this crime line bulletin on my right of Stephen Stearns. He was last seen driving a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. The Florida tag is IYLL82. On Monday, February 26th, between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road.
Okay.
as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte.
Sorry, one more
The Florida
time.
tag is IYLL82 on Monday, February 26th between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road. During this time frame, it is believed that Stearns had a flat tire and might have been seen changing the tire in this area. If anyone saw this vehicle or noticed anything suspicious, we're asking that they call Crime Line. We will continue to work tirelessly with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, and St. Cloud Police Departments to bring a resolution to this case and recover Maddie. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. We'll take some questions, but just remember, we're
Any possible specifics that you can give us as to what leads you to believe that she is definitive?
the video evidence that we have.
Is it about just the position of her body, the way?
So we're not going to go into those exact details, but we have video evidence that leads us to believe that she's already dead.
There's been a lot of things that you laid out here just now. This location in the afternoon, is there a belief, are we trying to figure out, I know you're requesting video surveillance in that area, are you trying to figure out whether she was still with this car at that time?
Yeah, so it could be helpful to us if people saw something, and obviously we're searching many different areas, but if someone saw something in that area, we want to know about it. What's that?
Where this car supposedly had a flat, is that area you've already searched?
So we actually have people searching areas right now. So they've searched a bunch of different areas, and they're going to continue to search. So I don't want to go into specifics on exactly where. I don't want to miss something. One more time. I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to pause that there because we've played the press conference. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring up in another tab here, go full screen. So I want to show everybody where this is. This is State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road in Orlando. Not now. Right? Yeah, this is the area. Okay. So now, directions wise, she was supposedly going to be dropped off at Hunters Creek Middle. I just want to give everybody a reference point because if you've been following this story, there it is, Town Loop Boulevard. Wow. Okay, so that's a distance. That's way more than I thought. So up here is Hunter Creek Middle. They're nowhere even close. 30 minutes in Orlando traffic. And then this is, so at some point in the 1 o'clock to 2:30 time frame, that is when the 2010 Lincoln MKZ silver in color license plate IYLL82 had a flat tire in the area of, again, State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, and then between Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road, which is right here. So this stretch right here, this stretch of really Old Hickory Tree Road is the area where he is supposedly seen in the area, perhaps, again, with a flat tire. 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. is the time frame. And that's significant because if they can piece together a timeline and try to figure out exactly what happened to Madeline, if Madeline was in the vehicle at 8:19 and believed to have been dead at that point because they believed that they had eyes on her body in the vehicle according to the video evidence that was collected by investigators, then something transpired. Okay, so there's a lot of hours there between 8:19 and 1 o'clock. That's what? Is that 5 hours? Yeah, about 5 hours. A lot of time. You can get in a lot of different places, tons of different places in 5 hours. Even in Orlando, which is known as really a point of congestion with traffic in Central Florida. So it would appear that the Orange County Sheriff's Office, really Kissimmee Police now is the lead investigative agency, they need help piecing together the timeline. One more time, 2010, Silver, Lincoln MKZ. Let's bring that up. So 2010, Lincoln MKZ, Silver. See if we can make this larger. Can I make this larger? Zoom. So this is the vehicle that we're looking at. Go to images here, see more. But I mean, everybody gets the idea. This is what we're on the lookout for. And really not even on the lookout for. We're asking people if they remember seeing somebody on the side of the road changing a flat tire around that area, around that time, because anything that helps investigators piece together the timeline could point to Madeline Soto's remains. Very interesting. All right, questions, comments, chat. You can use hashtag HJB with your comment. Starting now, you can also, you don't even have to use the hashtag. You just submit a comment to www.heyjb.live, and then it gets automatically added to the queue in a top position. So, great question from Carrie. Where's Carrie? Hashtag HJB, is that car too old to be equipped with GPS? No, it is not. Services like OnStar and GPS devices go, without question, predate 2010, especially with a luxury vehicle like a Lincoln. So, but is the GPS active? Is that, you would imagine that was one of the first questions that an investigator is going to ask, right? Is there any chance that there's any geolocation information from the vehicle itself? Holly, can they ping his phone to check where he was to possibly find her? I am sure that that's something that's on the investigator's radar, right? Because if he pings on certain towers, then that helps. But was his phone on? Was his phone in airplane mode? We talked about this just the other day with Brian Koberger. Brian Koberger either turned his phone off or went into airplane mode at the time of the murders taking place at the University of Idaho, and there's cell phone data for his location before the murders, the night before, and then the morning after, or really the morning of, but in the hours after, about 5 or so hours later. Yeah, and it's interesting. I don't know. So I don't know if a vehicle from 2010 can be pinged. That's a very technical question. There's no doubt that there's the ability for there to be, there's GPS technology in that vehicle, almost certainly, I would say, but. Can it be pinged like a phone? I don't know. I really don't know. You know why? Hey, look, audience, if you watch my streams, I keep it very real with you, right? It was bothering me the other day because Stearns here looks like somebody, and I couldn't place it. I was trying to think, like, why does he remind me of somebody that we have covered on stream before? And I'm just curious. I don't want to say who. I'm more curious if anybody else spotlights it, because he reminds me very much of somebody else that we have covered on live stream. Somebody was just noting how larger he is in comparison to the arresting deputies, or the deputies that have him there in handcuffs. And that also brought me back to another individual that we have covered on stream. Because this is just my opinion now, just my opinion, so I have to emphasize that, but he does look like somebody else that we have talked about at great length. But I don't see it in our chat yet. If I do, I'll spotlight it. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Earth, Moon, and Stars on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Nope. Yeah, Desperately Seeking Shannon had it also. Casey White. Very similar build, similar appearance with the hair, the facial hair. I think Casey White's older than Steven Stearns by many, by a good amount of years, but there's certainly a resemblance in my opinion. And if you don't remember Casey White, thank you, Terry, by the way, saying that the 2010 Lincoln MKZ, she says that she looked online and found that it was equipped with GPS. I believe it. Yeah, Casey White was, he was able to orchestrate a very elaborate breakout of prison through a supposed romance with one of the main corrections officers. That story was absolutely surreal. Still is to me to this day. I was talking about Casey White just the other day, and without getting too off topic, folks, you can search that one. In fact, I shout out. I think Brian Enton with News Nation is doing something on the CW with that story, or recently did. I haven't watched it, but yeah, people saying that Michelle saying that was wild. Oh yeah, that case was truly unpredictable, and every twist and turn in that story, you could not believe it. Folks, we're going to wrap up the live stream here momentarily. Again, that Lincoln MKZ, Justice for Madeline. We can assist law enforcement in getting good information out there that helps us get to a point in this story where there are answers for the Soto family. Of course, we want to do everything we can to help spread that information. Without question, all week long, law enforcement officers, investigators, detectives with multiple departments have been working this case and trying to find this 13-year-old girl. There was, I'm sure, originally hope to find her alive, and now that hope is virtually non-existent. However, they want to, of course, bring Madeline or find Madeline so that they can have a proper farewell for the Soto family. That's the right thing to do, given what has transpired. And of course, there is now this investigation has now turned to a new point, and it's finding Madeline Soto's remains. Also, totally confusing, by the way, with the pronunciations, right? So you have the sheriff saying Madeline, Soto, Stephen Stearns. Then you had the chief of police saying Madeline, Soto, and Stephen Stearns. So we in the media have been a little bit lost on pronunciations with this case, because it can be Madeline or Madeline. It can be Stephen or Stephen. And they could not have made it much worse as far as trying to get these names right. At the very least, what we want to do is pronounce these names correctly. It's our job to do so. But when you have one agency saying one thing, the other saying the other, it makes it that much harder. Yeah, I do agree. I think Casey White was considerably larger. Casey White was a big guy. He was an intimidating guy. He was known as being one that would tower over people. It doesn't look like Stearns here is as tall. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for the live stream here from the WFLA Now Stream Center. We really appreciate you joining us here on the stream, and hopefully we were able to get some good information out there to our audience as we continue to cover the Madeline. Well, see, I just did it. Madeline Soto story. We'll, of course, continue to pass along helpful information, any updates that we can, any press conferences that we can stream out of the Stream Center, we will do so. We really appreciate it. But if you're looking for up-to-date information, WFLA.com. You can find the story now. The sheriff, confident Madeline Soto is dead, never having made it to school on Monday morning, as we were previously led to believe. I'm sure updates will be coming your way on social media. Follow, of course, Kissimmee Police or the Orange County Sheriff's Office. You can also follow me at WFLA&JB on all platforms. I'll be sharing that information as I can. Thanks so much for joining us in the Stream Center. And if we don't talk to you, have a great rest of your weekend.